Hello and welcome. The experts at My Tax Accountant have put this guide together to help get to the bottom of a real head scratcher that pops up on pretty much every UK payslip: national insurance. We're going to focus on the most common one, Category A, and finally make sense of it all. You've been there, right? You see your salary before tax, you see what actually hits your bank account, and then there's that whole section in the middle. And one of the biggest chunks taken out is national insurance, usually with the letter A next to it. So what on earth does that A actually mean for your money now and for your future? Well, let's find out. So here's our game plan for the next 2 minutes. We're going to start by revealing your payslip's big secret. Then we'll decode what national insurance is actually paying for. After that, we'll dive into the real numbers for the 2025/26 tax year. Then we'll look at why getting your category right is so critical, cover some common mistakes and pro tips, and finally show you exactly how to take control. Sound good? Let's jump in. Okay, Section 1. That little letter A you see on your payslip, it's not just some random bit of admin. Nope, it's actually the key that tells you exactly how you're contributing to the UK Social Security pot. And for the huge majority of us in the workforce, A is the one that applies. So what is it really? Well, to put it simply, Category A is just the standard, default national insurance category. If you're working for an employer in the UK and you're between 21 and the state pension age, chances are this is you. Think of it as the main road of the whole system, designed to cover most working people. Right, so we know what it is, but where does all that money actually go? It's really easy to just think of national insurance as another tax, but it's a bit different. It's a contribution system, which means what you put in is directly tied to the support you can get out when you need it most. And here's exactly what we're talking about. Your contributions are literally the fuel for some of the UK's most vital services. They help pay for the state pension you'll get in retirement, and they support our amazing NHS day in and day out. But they also provide that crucial safety net, funding things like maternity pay or job seekers allowance if you find yourself out of work. It's a collective pot we all chip into and we can all draw from.
Okay, now for the bit you've probably been waiting for, the actual numbers. How much are you really paying? Let's get practical and break down the exact rates and thresholds for the 2025/26 tax year. Now, don't let the tables scare you. Let's just focus on what matters to you as an employee. The first magic number is that primary threshold, £12,570. You pay zero, not a penny, of national insurance on anything you earn below that. Then, for everything you earn between that amount and £50,270, you pay the main rate of 8%. If you earn more than that, the rate on any earnings above that top number drops to just 2%. That's it. Seeing numbers on a table is one thing, but let's make it real. Let's imagine a project manager based in Manchester who's earning £45,000 a year. How do these numbers actually apply to her? Here's how it all breaks down. The first £12,570 of her salary, she pays absolutely no national insurance on that. That's that personal threshold doing its job. Then you look at the chunk of her salary that's between £12,570 and her total of £45,000. That part is subject to the main 8% rate. So when you run the numbers, what does that actually mean for her monthly payslip? Well, it works out that our project manager in Manchester will see a deduction of roughly £179 each month for national insurance. And that, right there, is the real-world impact of being in Category A. So we know what it is, we know how much it costs, but why is it so incredibly important to make sure your category is correct? Well, this goes way beyond just a monthly deduction on your payslip. This is all about protecting your financial future. This one sentence really says it all. To get the full new state pension when you retire, you need to have 35 qualifying years of contributions on your record. 35! Every single year that you're correctly paying under Category A is another vital building block towards a secure retirement. But what happens if it's wrong? This is where it gets a little scary. Let's say your employer makes a mistake and puts you on Category X. Now, at first glance, that might seem brilliant. Your take-home pay suddenly shoots up because you're paying zero NI. But the hidden cost is absolutely massive. You're also earning zero credits towards your pension and other benefits, creating a gap in your record that could literally cost you thousands of pounds in retirement income. Now, because this system has its quirks, there are a few common traps that people can easily fall into. The good news is, once you know what they are, they're pretty easy to avoid. So let's look at a couple of the big ones. One of the biggest pitfalls is overpaying.
And this often happens when you're juggling multiple jobs. Let's take Ewan, for example. He works part-time as a barista, but he's also a freelance web developer on the side. The problem is, each of his employer's payroll systems works separately. They both give him that tax-free allowance, which can easily mean he ends up paying way too much national insurance overall. For someone like Ewan, we're not talking about a few quid here. By the end of the tax year, he could have easily overpaid by £500, maybe even more. And while you can claim it back, it can take ages, which isn't great for your cash flow. The best part? This is completely preventable. All right, quick pause. I have a pro tip here specifically for any business owners or employers watching. Understanding these different NI categories for your team isn't just about ticking a box. It can save you some serious money. Check this out. If you employ anyone under the age of 21, they should be on category M, not A. Now, the employee still pays their share, but you, the employer, pay 0% NI on their earnings. On a salary of, say, £25,000, that's a direct saving of over £3,000 a year for your business. For each employee, that's a huge incentive that so many businesses miss out on. Okay, knowledge is power, right? Now that you understand how this all works, it's time to take action. You can, and you absolutely should, be proactive about managing your national insurance. So, here's a super simple guide to do just that. First, the easiest check in the world. Just look at your next payslip. Is the NI category A? If it isn't, you need to ask your payroll team why. Second, log into your personal tax account on the gov.uk website. It's a fantastic tool that lets you see your entire contribution history, so you can spot any gaps. And third, if you're like Ewan with more than one job, you can apply to defer your NI payments using Form CA72A. This stops you from overpaying in the first place. So let's do a quick-fire recap of the most important points. 1. Category A is the default for most of us. 2. Your contributions pay for massive things like the state pension and the NHS. 3. For the 2025/26 tax year, that main rate you pay is 8%. 4. The best thing you can do is be proactive. Check your payslip and check your online record. And 5. If you're a multi-jobber, you can apply to defer payments. We've covered a fair bit of ground, and it's clear that while the system makes sense, it's definitely got its tricky parts. Getting it wrong can have real consequences. But the good news is, you absolutely do not have to figure it all out by yourself. If you have any doubts at all, if your situation is a bit complicated, or maybe you're a business owner who wants to make sure everything is spot on, the best thing to do is get professional advice. The team at My Tax Accountants are absolute experts in this stuff. You can reach them directly on WhatsApp or by phone at 07854 255 375, or you can just send an email to info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. And finally, if you found this guide helpful and you want more clear, simple explanations on all things tax and finance, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.